Good morning, one and all. Seeking the blessings from His Holiness Sri Jagadguru Sri Shivaratri Deshi Kendra Mahaswamiji, myself, Dr. Chaitra, Assistant Professor, Department of Sharira Rachana, JSS Ayurveda Medical College, Mysuru. It's my pleasure to welcome you all for the Rachanavadhana 2020 exam orientation program on behalf of Department of Sharira Rachana, JSS Ayurveda Medical College, Mysuru. Today is the third day of guest lecture series. For today's guest lecture, we have with us Dr. Nitin Kumar Sir, Associate Professor, Department of Sharira Rachana, SDM College of Ayurveda, Udupi. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of Department of Sharira Rachana.
Thank you, madam.
Sir did his BAMS from ALN Rao Memorial Ayurvedic Medical College, Koppa, and MD from SDM College of Ayurveda, Udupi, PhD from SDM College of Ayurveda, Udupi. He has participated and presented scientific papers in various international and national seminars. Sir has been recognized as a resource person in several prestigious platforms. He has been published several articles. Sir received Dr. D. Virendra Hegde Pattabhisheka Award by SDM Educational Society Ujire in 2009 and Young Teacher Award by AISRI Karnataka branch in 2013. Now, Sir is going to speak about the topic Ayurvediya Sharira Rachana. We are honored by your presence on this occasion, sir. Now, I request you to proceed with the session. Sir, please.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Shelly sir, Dr. Alka madam, Dr. Chaitra madam, and all the teaching faculty as well as the principal of JSS Ayurveda Medical College, Mysore, for giving me an opportunity to speak my view on Ayurvedic Sharira Rachana topic. So, before discussing about various exam-oriented points of Ayurveda Sharira Rachana, so I wanted to clarify one thing. So this presentation will be of discussion oriented rather than I am presenting and you are hearing. So because it is mainly the exam oriented point, so you can ask the questions in after discussing about each syllabus point. I am going to give a pause. If you have any clarification, you can solve your problems then and there itself, so that it will be clear. Instead of I am discussing and you are hearing. So better we should solve whatever the problem is there regarding how to prepare for Sharira Rachana exams. So I am going to discuss about the various syllabus points which are discussed under the heading of paper 1 part A, that is Ayurvedic portions of Sharira Rachana. So you know paper 1 100 marks, paper 2 100 marks. In that paper 1 part A completely deals about Ayurvedic Sharira Rachana. So first and foremost thing I wanted to clarify in this platform is, so it is completely Ayurvedic oriented portion of part A. So whenever you are writing answer for Ayurvedic portion, so better avoid discussing the modern points. If you have some time, in the end you can mention the modern things. For example, Mruta Shodhana Samskara. If the question is asked, explain Mruta Shodhana Samskara. Don't write directly the dead body preservation. Dead body preservation is not the point to be discussed whenever the question is asked like Mruta Shodhana Samskara. So it is completely a Ayurvedic point. So you have to highlight. So what are the methods Sushruta mentioned while discussing about Mruta Shodhana Samskara? That you have to highlight. So marks will be allotted to those points. Depending on the question asked, you have to answer. Similarly, if there is a questions like sub questions are there, for example, define Garbha, explain Masana Masika Garbha Vrittikrama for 10 marks, then definition of the Garbha carries some mark. Similarly, that Masana Masika Garbha Vrittikrama also carries some mark. So don't think that definition of Garbha carry here 5 marks and Masana Masika Garbha Vrittikrama carries 5 marks. So your definition of Garbha may carry 3 marks and the 7 marks for the Masanumasika Garbhavriddhi Krama. So whenever evaluator is evaluating the questions, so the distribution of mark is also important in scoring the marks. And one more thing regarding the time management, as you know, it is a 100 marks paper. So where 50 marks part A, 50 marks part B be there. So in that 10 marks question, 10 5 marks question, and the remaining 10 questions will be of 3 marks each. So as per my view, the time which you can take to complete the answer for 10 marks will be 25 minutes per each question. So 25 minutes for each question, that means 50 minutes you can utilize for 20 marks questions, that is 10 into 2 questions. And to write answer for 5 marks question, as per my view, it will be maximum 9 minutes. 9 minutes means 9 into 10, it is 90 minutes. So 90 plus 50, it will be 1 hour 40 minutes. That means 2 hour 20 minutes. The remaining 30 minutes to write the answers for that 30 marks question, that is 3 marks questions of 10. So for that each question 3 minutes. So it is 2 hour 50 minutes. And the last 10 minutes is for the preparation. That is preparation means if you have left out any answers, or if you want to fill your answer booklet number and all, for that 10 minutes additional 10 minutes, or to review your answers for last 10 minutes. This is how we can utilize the time. The time utilization is very important whenever you are writing the answers. So 25 minutes for 10 marks, 9 minutes, maximum 9 minutes for 5 marks, and 3 minutes for writing the answers for 3 marks question. So like that, if you answer, you can utilize 2 hour 50 minutes, and the last 10 minutes, it will be utilized for reviewing the answers, whether you have written it correctly, whether you have mentioned all the register numbers, everything, just to cross check all those things, the 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes. So this is how you have to plan. Similarly, whenever you are writing the answer for the paper 1, which contains both modern as well as Ayurveda, so as you are writing both Sanskrit fonts as well as the English fonts, the speed will be reduced whenever you are writing the Sanskrit literature. So whenever you are writing the sloka, or whenever you are writing the words in Sanskrit, the speed of the writing speed will be reduced. But when you are writing English, definitely it will be very fast. So that you have to manage. How to manage the time whenever you are writing Ayurveda, as well as whenever you are writing answers for modern portion. So that is also equally important, as normally before the exams you will get 1 month of study holidays, or 15 days or 20 days of study holidays. During those times you will not write anything in your home. So just read. So because of that, you will lead the you will actually the speed will be cut. So writing speed will be reduced because you are not at all writing anything during that 20 days or 1 month of study holidays. So my first and foremost thing request from all the students is, so even during the study holidays, at least write around 15 to 20 minutes, both Sanskrit font as well as the English font in any of your rough book, so that the writing speed will be maintained till your exams. Otherwise you will lose that writing speed even during your exams. This is first and foremost request to all the students, that so you have to write both Ayurveda as well as the modern, both sloka as well as modern thing, in any rough book at least for 15 to 20 minutes daily, so that that writing speed will be continued as it is. And one more thing is, so whatever the pen which you are going to use in your exams, so use that pen at least for writing half an hour or 1 hour before taking it to examination hall. Because the new pen, the writing speed will be very less. So before starting with the usage of the new pen, better write or better use that new pen to write something before entering into the examination hall, so that the writing speed will be increased. So normally the first and foremost complaint from the student is, I didn't get time to complete all the questions. So I left 2 questions, I have left 3 questions because I didn't get time to complete it. So the reason behind all these things is the proper time management. So you have not managed your time properly, one thing. Second, you have not used your pen before entering into the examination hall, because the new pen will take some time for flip flow. Similarly, you have not used your time to write during study holidays. That's why that writing speed will be reduced in the initial, especially the first paper will be the Padartha Vidyana. So while writing answers for Padartha Vidyana paper and all, so normally student will fail because of these things reason. So these are some of the points I wanted to highlight before discussing about the subject proper. So now I am directly jumping into subject proper. So as you know, in your syllabus, the first point in Ayurveda Sharir Rachana is the Shariropakramaniya Adhyaya, under which you are going to discuss about Sharira and Sharira Vyakya. So here they used both words Sharira as well as Sharira. Many a time students will get confused regarding the word Sharira, whether they ask the word Sharira or whether they use the word Sharira. Sometimes the word Sharira will be there. So with the tension, examination tension, they will think it as it is actually the Sharira, and they will write the answer for Sharira. And you will lose the marks, because this question will be normally asked for 3 marks. Define Sharira or define Sharira. Like that it will be asked. So in confusion, you will write whether it is Sharira, whether you are not cross-checking it, whether it is a Sharira or Sharira. So first and foremost thing is read the questions properly before answering. Just by confusion, you will write answer for Sharira instead of Sharira, or you will write answer for Sharira instead of Sharira. And the next point which you are going to study in this chapter is actually the Shadangatva, Sharira Shadangatva. That is Shaka Chatasro Madhyamam Pancha Shastha Shira iti. So the body is divided into 6 parts. Even according to modern science, you know, it is divided into head and neck, trunk, 4 limbs. Like that, only for a descriptive purpose, even the Sharira is also divided into 6 sangas, that is 4 Shaka, Madhya Sharira, and the Jatrurva. These are the 6 sangas. And one more question is point which is discussed in chapter is the Anga Pratyanga Vibhaga, where Anga is 6 sangas. Just now I discussed it is the Shadangas, and the Pratyanga is the subparts of these Angas, like Karna, Netra, Chibuka, Nasa, Kanta, or it may be Prakosta, then even Anguli. So these are the various subparts, whatever we observe in these Angas are called as Pratyanga. I think in one of the question paper they asked name the Pratyangas, name the Anga Pratyangas. I think they asked for 5 marks. So then you have to mention what is Anga first, then you have to give the answer for the Pratyanga. So this the names of the Pratyangas are mentioned in Charaka Sharira 7th chapter, where the 56 Pratyangas are mentioned by Charaka, as well as in Sushruta Sharira 5th chapter, that is Sharira Sankhya Vichaya Sharira, where also you will get the references regarding the Pratyangas, like Angulis will be 20 in number, then Nasa will be 1. Like that, they have mentioned the references regarding the Pratyangas. Next, the important point which is asked in this chapter is the Mruta Sharira Samshodhana. So that is the Mruta Sharira Samskarana or Mruta Shodhana. So here, so when it is actually a question normally asked for 5 marks. So normally students do a mistake while writing answer for this question is, instead of writing the Ayurvedic description of Mruta Sharira Samshodhana, they will write dead body preservation and they will lose the mark. They will think that I have answered it properly, but actually it is not the thing you should write. So you have to write the descriptions, whatever it is mentioned in Sushruta Sharira, in the 5th chapter, where he has mentioned clearly that the initial lines indicates how to select the cadaver, which type of cadaver should be selected, or the Mruta Sharira should be selected. Then what are the preliminary procedures should be done, and how to do the samskaran or the dissection they have mentioned. So like it should have more than 100 years, or it should have all the body parts, whatever the descriptions they mentioned, like avishopahatam, adirga vyadi peditam, All those actually the initial references are indicating that selection criteria. Then they have mentioned it should be covered like munja valkala, and you should be kept in the cage in a dark place. All those things are actually the preliminary steps which are followed in maintaining that mruta sharira for samskarana procedure, or it is the samskarana procedure. And the last one, with the help of a brush kurcha prepared out of bamboo and all, we should avagarshayat, we should scrape, by scraping we should study the interior from skin to interior. This is actually the method of dissection what they have mentioned. So clearly they have mentioned like selection criteria, procedure, and how to do the dissection. So you while answering also you should be in sub points like selection criteria, then the samskarana method, and last is the dissection method. Like that, if you write in points, you will score good marks. The next one is the Sharira Shastra Vibhaga. So there is no clear-cut direct reference of Sharira Shastra Vibhaga. So under the heading of Sharira Shastra Vibhaga, if at all they ask the question like explain Sharira Shastra Vibhaga, then you have to discuss the chapters of Sushruta Samhita, Sharirasthan. So you should know the names of the 10 chapters of Sushruta Samhita and what are the points highlighted in that Sushruta Sharira of each chapter. I'm talking only the basic concepts, whatever they mentioned. No need of biting all the slokas or all chapters. Just you should know the names and the important concepts highlighted in that each chapters of Sushruta Sharirastha. That you have to mention while discussing about Sharira Shastra Vibhaga. Next is Sharira Jnana Prayojana. So Sharira Jnana Prayojana, why we should study about the Sharira? It is mentioned, so the knowledge of the Sharira is considered as the half the knowledge of Shalya Tantra. Similarly, if you know both Pratyaksha as well as Shastra Jnana, so we can do all the surgical procedures as well as all the treatment modalities without any confusion. So that is what is considered as the Sharira Jnana Prayojana. So that you have to mention while writing Sharira Jnana Prayojana. Then the next point which is discussed in this is the constitution of Purusha according to Dhatu Veda. That is Dhatu Vedena Purusha. That is Ekadhatuja Purusha, Dvidhatuja Purusha, Tridhatuja Purusha, or the Shadvatmaka Purusha, Chaturvimshatiki Purusha, then even Panchavimshati Purusha. So whatever they mentioned, so like Ekadhatuja, it is Atma, or Dvidhatuja, that is Kshetra Kshetrajna. Tridhatuja, it is Sattvatma, and Sharira. So these things. So like this, whatever they mentioned, I think this point will even highlighted in Kriya as well as even in the Padartha Vidya. This point will come even in Kriya as well as Padartha Vidya. And the important question which is asked in this point will be the Chikitsa Purusha or the Karma Purusha as well as the Rashi Purusha. Majority of this time, if at all the question is asked as Rashi Purusha, student will write the description of Karma Purusha or the Chikitsa Purusha. The Rashi Purusha, it is Chaturvimshatiki Purusha. The Chaturvimshatiki Purusha itself is considered as Rashi Purusha. You have to answer that Chaturvimshatiki Purusha whenever the question is asked as Rashi Purusha. And Chikitsa Purusha or the Karma Purusha, it is the Shadtatvatmaka Purusha, where the Pancha Mahabhuta along with the Atma, which is actually forming the Shaddatvatmaka Purusha. When the Atma along with the Shaddhatuja Sharira, if it is there, then only we can do treatment or various karma on it. That's why that Shaddhatvatmaka Purusha or the Karma Purusha or the Sharira, which is made up of Pancha Mahabhuta along with the Atma, if it is there, then only we can do various treatment modalities. That's why it is called as Chikitsa Purusha or the Karma Purusha. So don't confuse Chikitsa Purusha or the Karma Purusha with the Rashi Purusha. Rashi Purusha is different, Chikitsa Purusha is different. Then role of Pancha Mahabhuta in the Sharira. So this point is actually not clearly mentioned in one place. It is actually discussed in various contexts, like role of Pancha Mahabhuta in the Garbha Vriddhi. Similarly, even it is mentioned while discussing about the definition of the Sharira, it is mentioned that that is where the role, how the various Pancha Mahabhutas will helpful for the various growth of the, like शुक्रशोणितं गर्भाशयस्थं आत्मप्रकृतिविकार समूर्छितं गर्भ इत्युच्यते तं चेतनावस्थितं वायु विभजति तेजयेन पचति आपः क्लेदयन्ति. That is what mentioned. So you have to collect all these references which is mentioned in different contexts, like usage of or the benefits of the Panchamahabhuta in the Utpatti of Sharira or the development of the Sharira. Even in the Vayus Tantra Yantra Shloka it is mentioned Karta Garbhakritinam. So you can collect such references, whatever mentioned in different contexts, while discussing about role of Panchamahabhuta in Sharira. Similarly, Trigunatmakatva. So it is Sattva, Raja, and Tamas. So you know the dosha, dhatu, mala, everything is made up of these trigunas only. And you know the trigunatmaka constitution of those, which triguna is prominent in vata, which is in pitta, similarly kapha, like that you know. So that references you have to highlight whenever it is a question is asked, like trigunatmakatva of sharira. Similarly, Tridoshamayatva. You know what is the importance of Tridoshas in the body. So you know Vata, Pitta, Kapha is actually considered as the basic entity of the Sharira. All the Deha it is depended on this Vata, Pitta, Kapha only. So that importance of the Tridosha in the Sharira is actually highlighted in this Tridoshamayatva of Sharira. Then Karma Purusha. Karma Purusha, just now I told it is actually the Chikitsa Purusha or the Karma Purusha is actually, you have to write the Shardhatvatmaka Purusha where Atma is important. Without Atma, we can't treat any dead body. So when the Atma is there along with the Mahabhautika Sharira, so then only we can do treatment or the Chikitsa. That is why it is called as Karma Purusha or the Chikitsa Purusha. Similarly, Dosha Dhatu Malamulakatvam is Shariram. So as you know, the Sharira is completely made up of Tridosha, Saptadhatu as well as the Trimala. So that is what it is. That's why it is told Dosha Dhatu Malamulakatvam hi Shariram. It is actually discussed even in Ashtanga Hridaya. So that point you have to highlight. So next, if you look into the questions which are asked under this portion, so it is define Purusha and explain the Sangatana. It is Dhatu Bedena Sangatana. You have to explain the Dhatu Bedena Sangatana. So Dhatu Bedena Sangatana, you have to write Eka Dhatu. Initially, you have to mention what is defined Purusha. Puri Sharira Shete iti Purusha. So one which is residing in the Puri. Puri here refers to the body. So the one which is residing in the Sharira or the Puri is called as Purusha. So here it is actually Atma, indicating the Atma, we can say. So, and you know the various Dhatu Bedena Sangata like Eka Dhatuja Purusha Dhatuja, like that. So those points should be highlighted. So I am discussing last 8 years question paper from 2013 to 2020, which are the questions asked in your question paper. Those things I am highlighted in my presentations. Similarly, they have asked question like define Sharira and Sharira. Explain Bhuta Sharira Samshodhana. So initially you have to define both Sharira as well as Sharira. Then you have to mention the Mruta Sharira Samshodhana. So it is a question of 15 marks where the defined Sharira and Sharira may carry around 7 marks and the 8 marks may be related with the Mruta Sharira Shodhana. Then if you write only one definition of Sharira, you may not score much. We may expect around 2 to 3 definitions of the Sharira. So as it is a long question, so here we expect some more references, some more references regarding the definition of Sharira and the Sharira. So before answering, you should see whether it is a question of 10 marks or a 5 marks or a 3 marks. Depending on the marks, you have to write the answer. If it is a long question, we accept some more additional points to be highlighted in this. If it is a 5 marks, okay, one definition or 2 definition along with the Mruta Shodhana, if you write, you may score. If it is 2 marks, just the definition, one definition, if you have written also, we may score complete out of out. Similar references is asked like define Sharira and the importance of study of Sharira Rachana. So you have to highlight various, you studied various points under the heading of Sharira Rachana. you should write the importance of all those points. It may be related with the marma, it may be related with the pramanas. The importance of individual points you can discuss here, because it is the importance of study of the sharira rachana. So you have to highlight the importance of knowing the indriyas, why we should study pramana, kala, all those things you can highlight here. Similarly, they have mentioned define Sharira as explained in Sushruta Samhita. When it is clearly asked as it is explained in Sushruta Samhita, you have to highlight the references of only Sushruta Samhita. Then they have mentioned the importance of Sharira Sthana of Sushruta Samhita. Then you have to write what are the chapters discussed in Sushruta Sharira Sthana and what are the concepts explained under each chapter and their importance. That you have to highlight. So, but the answer should be short. It should not be a long one like a paragraph. No need of writing it in paragraph. Write the name of first chapter, Shukra Shodita Shuddhi Sharira. Then write in this chapter. So, Shuddha Shukra Shuddha Artava Lakshanas are mentioned. Just one or two sentences related each chapter. If you write, then you can write the answers per 5 marks. Then you can see various under different question papers they asked this Mrutta Shodhana Samskara as different. Okay, like Mrutta Samshodhana Karma, Mrutta Sharira Samshodhana and Vichedana, Sava Samskarana Paddhati, Mrutta Sharira Shodhana and Samskarana Vidhi, Mrutta Deha Samskarana Vidhi, all are indicating the same Mrutta Shodhana Samskara. So here you have to highlight only Ayurvedic portion. So if you have time, you can write modern in brief in the end. But don't write modern first and one or two sentences, don't write only Ayurveda. So because we expect Ayurvedic portion and part A of paper 1. So like that, they have mentioned the define Purusha, describe Shardha to Atmaka Purusha for 5 marks. Here you have to define what is Purusha. Then you have to explain what is Shardha to Atmaka Purusha. And it is also considered Chikitsa Purusha or the Karma Purusha. Those points also you have to highlight. Similarly, they asked define Sharira or Sharira Yoho Vyakya or Sharirasya Pancha Bhautikatva, whatever I discussed previously. Similarly, they ask questions like Chikitsa Purusha for 5 marks. Even they ask Shadanga Sharira or the Sharira Shadangatva for 5 marks. Here you have to write both the references of Charaka as well as the Sushruta and why they have mentioned Shadanga Sharira. It is actually for descriptive purpose. You have to mention whenever they are describing Asti, Sandhi, Peshi, everything they discussed separately under the heading of Shaka, Madhya Sharira, Jatrurdva, like that only they have mentioned. For descriptive purpose, they have divided the Sharira into 6 parts. Similarly, they have mentioned, asked a question regarding Triguna. So, Sattva, Rajatama, and how they are predominant in each dosha dhatu. That those things you have to highlight in this. In under the heading of 2 marks, now presently there is no 2 marks question. Now it is a 3 marks question. But whenever I am collecting questions from previous year, they were asking 2 marks question also. The same 2 marks question normally will be asked for 3 marks also. Like Sharira Jnana Prayojana, Karma Purusha, Rashi Purusha, or Shadanga Sharira or the Shadangatva, where you have to write Shadanga, Triguna, Purusha. These are the various questions which are asked under 2 marks. And if you go through the various questions, majority of the questions are asked either for 5 marks or for 2 marks. Normally around 5 to 7 marks question will be asked from this chapter. Very occasionally you may see a long question where like definition of Sharira along with the Mrutta Shodhana Samskara or define Sharira with the importance of studying the Sharira. Only this type of questions will be asked for long questions. Otherwise, normally it will be a more of 5 marks question where Mrutta Shodhana Samskara is the very important question which is commonly asked for 5 marks. Other than that, Rashi Purusha or the Chikitsa Purusha is another 5 marks question, important question. Then they may ask any 2 marks questions or 3 marks questions. So majority of the time, the questions asked from this portion will be around 5 to 7 marks. Next, if you go through the chapter is the Paribhasha Sharira, where they have mentioned like Kurcha, Kandara, Jala, Asti Sangata, Simanta, Sevani, Rajju, Snayu, and Lasika. So majority of these questions are asked only for Sangata, Sivani, Rajju, Snayu, Rasika. These are the various questions which are asked. Hello? Hello, madam.
Sir, you can continue, sir.
Yeah. So these are the various questions which are asked in this chapter. So normally they are asked for 2 marks, or sorry, presently it is 3 marks. They will ask Kurcha, Kandara, Jala, Stisangata, Simanta, Sevani, Rajju. And don't confuse these words. Simanta and Sevani are different entities. Sometimes the question will be asked like Sivani. Students will write the answer of Simanta. So whenever you're writing the answers, we should be very careful. You have to see whether the question is asked Sivani or Simanta, or whether it is Asti Sangata, whether it is a Jala, Kandara. So like that. And one more term which is asked in this chapter is the Lasika. Lasika is Udakasya Picha Bagaha. So it is considered as the Picha Baga of the Udaka, or Lasika is also considered Jala Vishesha. It is a type of Jala. So or it is the Svedamsha which is produced from the Mamsa. Lasika is considered as the Svedamsha which is produced from the Mamsa by the effect of Shariroshma, is also considered as Lasika. So it may, once they asked what is Lasika for 3 marks, or that is 2 marks. In Snayu, normally they will ask Snayu Prakara for 3 marks, or they may ask define Snayu, explain Snayu Prakara in detail with the examples for 5 marks. It is normally, it is the one question, normally it will be asked for 5 marks. And if you go through the questions which are asked here, you can see here, explain Snayu in detail, define Snayu and explain types of Snayu. Just now I told this is normally the one long question asked for 5 marks. Very occasionally, Kandara may be asked for 5 marks. Other than this, there is no major questions asked for 5 marks in this chapter. All will be of 2 marks or 3 marks, like Snayu and its types, or the Snayu Prakara, or Kurcha, Jala, Lasika, Sivani, Sevani. Sivani and Sevani are one and the same. Don't confuse. Sivani and Sevani are one and the same. Both are one and the same. Rajju, Simanta, Asti Sambhata. These are the various questions. Normally, the 2 marks question, 1 or 2 questions of 2 or the 3 marks questions will be asked. Very occasionally, 5 marks. Not more than 3 to 5 marks from this chapter. So this is how we should analyze which points will be more prominent, which more important in Sharir Rachana. Next, if you go through the third chapter, it is actually the very important chapter from which normally 15 to 20 marks questions will be asked. Very important chapter where normally the long questions of 10 marks will be asked from this. Along with the 10 marks, they may ask even 5 marks question or even 2 marks questions also. Normally from 15 to 20 marks questions will be asked from this chapter. So where they discuss about Garbha Sharira, definition of the Garbha, define Garbha. Similarly, as you know, the various references of the definition of the Garbha, then it is actually the explanation of Shukra and the Artava, that is Shuddha Shukra and the Shuddha Artava Lakshanas, all those things. What is Shukra, what is Artava, what is Pumbija, what is Tribija. They may use the word Pumbija as well as Tribija instead of Shukra and Artava also. So like that, they are asking. Similarly, Garbhadana. So here, this is one of the question normally, very occasionally they used to ask for 3 marks or for 5 marks. Here, Garbhadana means how the Garbha will be produced. That is, at the time of Rutukala, when the male with the Shuddha Shukra, female with the Shuddha Artava do sexual intercourse, then the Shukra and the Artava will combine inside the uterus and Atma will enter into that. So that and finally produces the Garbha. That procedure or that explanation is actually the Garbhadana. So how the Garbha will develop. So that is what mentioned. Anupata Retasya Shuddha. That is what references it is mentioned in. That reference is available in Charaka Sharira, 3rd chapter, 3rd sloka. So where clearly mentioned how the Garbha formation is taking place. This is actually, normally students will write something else like definition of Garbha and all for this question. So this is actually how the Garbha will be produced. That is what mentioned in Garbhadhara. Similarly, role of Tridosha as well as the Panchamahabhuta. That is what we discussed. Like I told how the Anga Pratyangas will be developed. In while discussing about the Sharira, I discussed this point. What are the Mahabhutas? How the Mahabhutas will play a role in the utpatti of the various anga pratyangas, all those things you have to highlight in role of Panchamabhuta in the fetal development. The next one is the Bija Bhaga, Avayava. So this is one of the question normally asked for 5 marks, or they may ask like Bija Bhaga or Bija Bhaga, Avayava. So it is mentioned in Charaka Sharira, 3rd chapter, 17th sloka, where it is mentioned, Yasya Yasya hi Angavayavasya, Bija Bhaga Upatapto Bhavati, Tasya Angavayavasya Vikriti Rupa Jayate, Cha Anupatapa Tasmat Ubayopapati Yatra. I think this point is already discussed by your concerned teachers, where Bija here refers to the Shukra and the Artava. Bija Bhaga is the part of that Shukra or the Artava which is responsible for the production of any Anga or Pratyanga, and the Bija Bhaga Vayava. So it is actually the subparts of that Anga. For example, a part Bija Bhaga which is responsible for the Garbhashaya. In that subpart which is responsible for the utpatti of cervix portion of the Garbhashaya, that will be considered as Bija Bhaga Avayava. So like that we should understand Bija Bhaga Avayava. So this is also one of the questions normally asked for 5 marks or for 2 marks. Then Linga Vinishya, it is one of the important question normally asked for 5 marks. So if it is asked for 5 marks, you have to mention around 3-4 references, like if the sexual intercourse is done on Yugma and Ayugma days, the male and female child will be produced. Similarly, depending on the predominance and the Shukra and the Artava, male and female child will be produced. Or if the Shukra is produced from the right side testis, and if the Artava is from the right ovary, then male will be produced. Like that, they have mentioned various references for the Linga Vinishya. You have to highlight such 2-3 references of description when the question is asked for 5 marks. If it is asked for only 2 marks or 3 marks, you can write only 1 references or 2 references maximum. And the very important portion which is asked in this chapter will be the Masa Anumasika Garbha Vriddhi Krama. It will be a long question. Normally, this question will be asked for long essay. So the references of Sushruta Samhita is very important. We have to buy head the sloka of Sushruta Sharirasthana, where they have mentioned what are the things which occur in 1st month, 2nd month, 3rd month, up to 9 months. So that is very important. Similarly, and normally along with this, students will write the modern also. You can write the modern description, but we expect Ayurvedic description because it is mainly of Ayurveda portion. So you have to highlight the Ayurvedic references. If you know the references of Charaka, it is well and good. Sometimes they may ask the question like the development of the Garbha in the 3rd month for 3 marks, or development of the Garbha in the 4th month for 3 marks. So then also you can write the answer for that if you know complete Masanmasika Garbha Vriddhi Krama. And the major thing which students do a mistake whenever they are writing the answer is Garbhotpadaka Bhava, Garbha Vriddhikara Bhava, and Garbhotpadaka Samagri. These are the 3 different entities. Normally students get confused. Garbhotpadaka Bhava means it is the Matruja, Pitruja, Atmaja, Satmaja, Sattvaja, Rasaja. These are the 6 bhavas are considered as the Garbhotpadaka Bhava. Garbhotpadaka Samagri means Rutu, Kshetra, Ambu, Bija. Garbhotpadaka Samagri. Garbha Vriddhikara Bhava is Upasneha, Upasveda, Kala Parinama, Swabhava, and Shuddha, that is Shuddha Garbhotpadaka Bhava, and the Maturahara Vihara. So these are actually Garbha Vriddhikara Bhava. That is Matrujadi Shadbhava, Maturahara Vihara, Kala Parinama, Swabhava, Upasneha, and Upasveda. These 6 factors are considered as Garbha Vriddhikara Bhava. So normally whenever the question is asked Garbha Vriddhikara Bhava, students will write like Garbhotpadaka Bhava. So you can score only 1 mark here because Garbhotpadaka Bhava is just a 1 factor under Garbha Vriddhikara Bhava. You are not writing the remaining like Maturahara, Vihara, Kala Parinama, Swabhava, Upasneha, Upasveda. All these things are very important. So that's why clearly read the question whether it is Garbhotpadaka Bhava, Garbha Vriddhikara Bhava, or Garbhotpadaka Samagri. Then answer. Then all these things are asked normally for 5 marks. Then Garbha Poshana. So they may ask like Garbha Poshana or Garbhasya matra paratantrata, that is dependency of Garbha on mother. So question may be asked, Garbhasya matra paratantrata or Garbha poshana. Both are one and the same. You have to write the answer, same answer. Garbhasya poshana or Garbhasya matra paratantrata. And the next one is the apara nirmana. So you should know the definition of apara. What is apara? How the apara is produced? The apara is having different meanings like jarayu, ulba. So these are the various terms, meanings of apara. But the important meaning of the apara is actually the placenta, how the placenta is formed. So in Ayurveda, they have mentioned Greta Garbhanam, Arthavanam, Srotasam, Vartmani, Avarudyante. That definition is actually indicating the reference of apara. You have to discuss that apara. So this apara will be asked either for 5 marks or for 3 marks. Then Nabi Nadi. So Nabi Nadi actually, Nabi Nadi Nirman is actually a modern description, but Nabi Nadi you will get the description of Nabi Nadi, little bit description you will get in the context of Apara or in the Garbha portion, where the Nabi Nadi of the Garbha is connected with the Apara. So as well as Nabi of the Garbha. So that reference is available in Garbha portion. So you can write Nabi Nadi is a structure which is connecting the Apara with the nabi of the garbha. Through that, the ahara rasa will be carried from mother to the baby. So that is what nabi nadi. Similarly, anga pratyanga utpatti, they have mentioned. So the factors responsible for the utpatti of different anga pratyangas like yakrit and pliha will be produced from the shonita, pupusa from the shonita fena. Those things will be asked either for 2-3 marks or for 5 marks. So these are the various points which are discussed under Garbha Sharira. And if you go through these questions asked in this one, so you can see majority of them are long questions. Like define Garbha as per Acharya Sushruta and Charaka. Then explain Masanumasika Garbha Vruddhikrama as mentioned in Sushruta Samhita. Or define Garbha, write the role of Pancha Mahabhuta and explain Garbha Vruddhi Karabhava. See here it is Garbha Vruddhi Karabhava, whatever the 6 factors I told, like Maturaha, Ravihara, Kala Paranama Sabhava, that you have to highlight here. Similarly, define Garbha, mention Garbhotpadaka Bhava. Here Garbhotpadaka is Matruja, Pitruja, Atmaja, Sattvaja, all those things. Then Anga Pratyanga Utpatti Krama, that is like how they are. Yakrit will be produced, how the pliha will be produced, that thing you have to mention here. Or define Garbha, write Garbhadana. I have mentioned what is Garbhadana in the initial slide. Then explain in detail about Masanumasika Garbha Vruddhikrama. Similarly, you can see another question, explain Masanumasika Garbha Vruddhikrama Anga Pratyanga Utpatti as told in Sushruta Samhita. The same thing is repeated again. Define Garbha, explain Masanumasika Garbha Vruddhikrama with the special reference to Chaturtha Masa. Here you can see you have to mention Masanumasika Garbha Vruddhikrama. Along with that, you have to highlight what are the things which is taking place in the Chaturtha Masa. Here mainly you have to write about Daurudha Avastha as well as Daurudini. That Daurudha Avastha and the Daurudini you have to highlight in this. So you have to mention what is Daurudha Avastha, what is Daurudini Lakshana. All those things you can explain in this reference. And 5 marks question, if you see, it is Rutumati Lakshana. Rutumati Lakshana means it is actually, so in the Rutukala, you know the Rutukala, it is actually of 12 days, starting from 4th day till the 15th day of a menstrual cycle according to Ayurveda. It is of 12 days, starting from 4th day till 15th day. It will be called as Rutukala. During the Rutukala, what are the Lakshanas mentioned in the Stri? That is Prina Prasannavadhana Praklinatma Mukadvijam. That reference you have to explain here. Similarly, this Garbha Vruddhikara Bhava, Garbhotpadaka Bhava, Garbhotpadaka Samagri. These are the questions normally asked for 5 marks. Similarly, like Apara, Apara Nirmana, or Bija, Bija Bhaga Vayava, even Garbha Poshana. Just now I told Garbha Poshana or Garbhasya Matru Paratantrata. Similarly, Pumbija. Here Pumbija means you have to write Shukra. You have to explain Shukra Lakshanas, Shuddha Shukra Lakshana, which is mentioned by 2-3 references you have to highlight. Then Stanya Nirmana Vidhi. So Stanya, how the Stanya will be produced. So when the upper ray is produced, some amount of the artava which is obstructed will move upward into the sthana pradesha and it develops this sthana. So once the sthana is developed, so the sthanya will be produced in that sthana by the madhura prasada bhaga of the ahara rasa. So that is, even this point is discussed even in the Sharira Kriya. So that point you have to discuss here. Similarly, Masanumasika Garbha Vruddhi Krama, Anta Pushpa. Anta Pushpa is another thing which is normally asked for 5 marks or the 3 marks. It is actually the Artava, that is Bija Rupi Artava. It is indicating that Bija Rupi Artava. Anta Pushpa is that Bija Rupi Artava is actually mentioned as Anta Pushpa. It is not the Artava which is mentioned as menstrual fluid. The Artava Lakshana, whatever they mentioned, it is actually the Lakshana of the menstrual fluid. The Artava which is responsible for the Garbhotpati is the Bija Rupi Artava. That Bija Rupi Artava itself is Anta Pushpa. So you have to mention that description in the Anta Pushpa. Similarly, Anga Pratyanga Utpatti, Linga Vinishya, Shuddha Artava Lakshana. These are various questions which are asked for 5 marks in this chapter. And if you go through 2 marks or the 3 marks question, it is Shuddha Artava Lakshana, Artava, Shuddha Shukra, Shukra, Sri Bija, Kosha Vibhajana. Kosha Vibhajana, it is actually Sharira is made up of Paramanus and Vayu is the Karana for both union as well as division. It is mentioned in Sushruta Samhita. That references you have to explain here. Similarly, Anuvamshiki Siddhanta. Anuvamshiki Siddhanta means it is the Bija Dushti. So that Anuvamshiki Siddhanta is explained under the heading of Bija Bhaga, Vayava. So that point you have to highlight here. Similarly, Garbha, definition of Garbha, Garbha Paribhasha or Rutukala. Rutukala, just now I told, it is 12 days period starting from 4th to 15th day. So then same, Rutu and Rutukala are one and the same. Or it may be the Linga Beda, Linga Vinishya, Dauhruda. Dauhruda is a stage where Garbhini will have 2 Hrudayas. Daurudini means the Garbhini. Daurudini is Garbhini. Dauhruda is Daurudavastha, where Garbhini is having 2 Hrudayas. And in that Daurudavastha, we observe various Lakshanas. That is called as Daurudini Lakshana. That Daurudini Lakshana, Garbhini Lakshana are one and the same. Garbhini Lakshana and the Daurudini Lakshana are one and the same. So this Daurudini Lakshana or the Garbhini Lakshana is one of the questions maybe asked for 3 marks or 5 marks. Then Stanya Utpatti Krama, Anta Pushpa, just now we discussed. Deha Prakriti. Prakriti is also asked, discussed in Garbhavakranti chapter. Similarly, Appara, Pumsavana Karma. So the references of Pumsavana Karma where the milk processed with the Lakshmana, etc. If it is put into the right nostril, then the male baby will be produced. So like that, that reference is whatever it is there. That reference is also very important. Normally it will be asked for 3 marks. Similarly, position of the Garbha in the womb. So that position of the Garbha in the womb, actually it is mentioned, it is Abhugno Sankuchitanga. So it is actually in the Sankuchitavastha. Garbha will be present in Abhugnavastha or Sankuchitavastha, flexed condition it will be seen and facing towards the front of the mother. And whenever during the delivery, the head will come first downwards. So that is what mentioned in Sushruta Samhita. So that references is considered as the normal position of the Garbha. You have to highlight it. Similarly, Utpatti of the Vrukka, that Anga Pratyanga Vibhaga portions you have to discuss. Then Pramana Sharira. Under the heading of Pramana Sharira, they discuss both, even though only Angula Pramana is mentioned here, even they discussed about Anjali Pramana. The questions will be asked from both Anguli Pramana as well as Anjali Pramana. You can see here. So normally the questions will be for 5 marks or for 3 marks, like Anguli Pramana or importance of Pramana Sharira or Anjali Pramana. So these are the normal questions if it is asked for 5 marks. Otherwise, it is normally define Anguli or Angula or Anjali Pramana. What do you mean by Anjali? Define Anjali Pramana, define Anguli Pramana, or Anjali Pramana of either Hasta, Janga, or total height of Anguli Pramana of the Sharira, total Anguli Pramana of the Sharira. Like that, they may ask questions for 3 marks. And normally you can see either 3 marks or maximum up to 5 marks. Questions will be asked from this portion. So next point is about the Asti Vyakya. So in this Asti Sharira chapter, they will ask Asti Vyakya, number, then types of the Asti, as well as the Vasa, Meda and Majja. So as you know, define Asti, Asyateti Asti. So that definition of the Asti may be, even if it is asked, it will be asked for 3 marks. Types of the Asti normally asked for 3 marks or for 5 marks. That Kapala, Ruchaka, Taruna, Valaya, Nalaka, that types of the Asti. So normally Sankhya of the Asti, they may ask for 3 marks. Asti Sankhya. So then you have to write 360 according to Sushruta, 300 according to 360 according to Chalaka, 300 according to Sushruta. That you have to mention when the Asti Sankhya is asked. Asti Swarupa, if it is asked, then you have to write. It is what you are going to write in the Asti Swarupa is, it is Tulastishu Visheshena Majjatu Abhyantarashritaha Atetareshu Sarveshu Sarakta Meda Uchyate. So in Stula Asti we observe Majja inside the Asti, and in case of Alpa Asti or smaller Asti we observe Sarakta Meda. That point you have to highlight in Asti Swarupa. And Vasa, what is Vasa means? It is Shuddha Mamsasya Ya Sneha Vasa Parikirtita. It is the Snehamsha present in the Mamsa, that is called as Vasa. And Meda and Majja, just now I told, in Stulasti we observe Majja, and in Alpasti we observe Sarakta Meda. So these are the things. Normally it will be asked for 3 marks or 5 marks. Questions will be asked from this portion only 3 marks or 5 marks. Like define Asti and explain or relevance Asti explained in Susha Samhita along with the relevant shloka. So these are the various questions may be asked for 5 marks. Then Valaya Asti, Kapala Asti, Taruna Asti, like that, or Sarakta Meda. As I told, Sarakta Meda is the one which is situated in Alpa Asti. So such things may be asked for 3 marks. And the next point will be the Sandhi. So in case of Sandhi, they may ask definition of Sandhi, number as well as the type. So from this chapter, normally a 5 marks question will be there, like Sandhi Prakara, define Sandhi and classify it. So that will be the normal question, like Sandhi Prakara, or classify Sandhi with the example, Sandhi Vargikarana with the appropriate examples, like that they will ask. So whenever the Sandhi Prakara is asked, you have to write both type of Sandhi Prakara. One is functional classification, second one is the structural classification. Functional classification is Sthira and Chala Sandhi. And structure wise, if you are considering, it is 8. Kora Ulukala Samudga Pratara Tunna Sevani Vayasutunda Mandala Shankavarta. Normally student will write only this Kora Ulukala, that they will write. They will not write Chala and Sthira. That's why they may lose 2 marks here, because you have to, as it is mentioned, Sandhi Prakara, so you have to highlight both functional as well as structural classification of the Sandhi when the question is asked. If it is only structural classification of Sandhi, then you have to write only Kora Ulukala. If it is functional classification, you have to write only Chala and Achala. Then other questions will be like Sandhi, Kora Sandhi, Ulukala Sandhi, Shankavarta Sandhi, types of Sandhi. So here, just if the question is types of Sandhi, just mention the names of the Sandhi. That's enough. No need of explaining in detail when the question is asked for 3 marks. Normally 3 to 5 marks questions will be asked from this chapter. And the next important chapter will be the Sira Damani Srotas, where we are going to discuss about the definition of the Sira, definition of the Damani, definition of the Srotas, types of Sira, Damani, Srotas. So even the description of the Hridaya is discussed here. And if you go through this one, so normally the long questions will be very minimal from this chapter. Very occasionally they ask long questions from this chapter, like explain Srota Sharira in detail, or write the difference between Sira, Damani, Srotas. That is, they have mentioned Samanyata and Vishishtata between Sira, Damani, Srotas in Sushruta Sharira 9th chapter 3rd shloka, where they have mentioned Vishishtata like Vyanjananyatvat, Karma Vaisheshyat, Agamat, like that they were mentioned. Then Saukshmyat, then Agamat, Karma Sadharmyat, like that they were mentioned similarity. So you have to discuss that point when the question is asked difference as well as similarities between Siradhamani Srotas. The reference is available in Sushruta Sharira, 9th chapter, 3rd shloka. And similarly, the normally from this chapter we observe 5 marks question like define Sira and Damani with differences, or classification of Sira and Damani, or explain Urdhva or Adhoga, or explain define Sira and explain types of Sira like Vataja, Pittaja, Kafaja and Raktaja. Uh, Define Sira and classify it and explain distribution of the Sira, how they are present, how many Siras present in Madhya Sharira, how many present in Shaka, that distribution also they may ask. Then Sira Prakara, then you have to write Vataja, Pittaja, Kafaja and Raktaja. And similarly, Mula Siras, Sankhya, as well as the distribution of Mula Sira. Mula Siras, you know, it is 40, 10 Vataja, 10 Pittaja, 10 Kafaja and 10 Raktaja. All these references are available in Sushruta Sharira, 7th chapter. And in the Srotas, if you see, it is define Srotas and write its types, or define Srotas and explain Rasava Srotas, or explain Pranava Srotas. So, or explain Pranava Srotas or Annava Srotas. If only individual Srotas is asked for 5 marks, for example, Pranava Srotas or the Annava Srotas, like that, you have to explain the mool of these Srotas as explained by Sushruta as well as Charaka. And in one or the two sentences, you can write why those Moolasthanas are considered as, why those structures or avayavas considered as the Moolasthana of that particular Srotas, and you can discuss even the Vidya Lakshana or the Dushti Lakshana related to that Srotas. That is how you have to write if the same question is asked for 5 marks. Pranava Srotas, you have to mention the Moola of Pranava Srotas as mentioned in Sushruta Samhita as well as Charaka Samhita. Then in one or two sentences, you can discuss why those avayavas are considered as Moola. Then you can discuss Vidya Lakshana or the Dushta Lakshana, so that you can score 4 to 5 marks. Nor other than this, you can see if you go through, you can see various questions like Sira, Sira Sankhya, Sira types of Sira, Damani Sankhya, Srotas, Sroto, Abhyantara Srotas, or the Mool of Mutrava Srotas. Like this, normally questions will be asked for 3 marks or 5 marks. The questions normally from this chapter will be around 5 to 8 marks. From Sira, Damani, Sroto, Sharira, it will be around 5 to 8 or 5 to 10 marks questions will be asked from Sira, Damani, Srotas. Definitely one long 5 marks question normally will be there from Sira, Damani, Srotas. One 5 mark question and normally one 3 marks question will be there from this chapter. And the next is the Peshi Sharira. So here we are going to discuss about definition of the Peshi, structure of the Peshi, types and number of the Peshi, and description of Peshi. Many a time students will get confusion regarding types of Peshi. What is this types of Peshi? So there is no references like types of Peshi and all you will say. Actually, it is mentioned under the heading of Peshi Swarupa. So whatever the description mentioned in Peshi Swarupa, same thing you have to discuss as Peshi Prakara. So that is what mentioned as Tasam Bahala Pela Vastula Anu Prutu Vruttar Swadirga. So that is what you have to mention under Peshi Prakara. And same thing you can write even in the Peshi Swarupa also. So you can see here types of Peshi, which is actually asked for 5 marks. Or enumerate Peshi and explains 3 Gata Adhika Peshi. So you should mention the 20 Adhika Peshis mentioned in 3. Out of that, 10 present in the Sthana, then 4 present in Apatya Pattas, 3 in the Garbha Chidra, and 3 in the Shukrartha Praveshni. That point you have to highlight here. So other than that, you may see the questions like Peshi, Peshi Prakara, Peshi Sankhya, or the arrangement of these 3 Peshi, where they are present. Such questions will be asked. So normally 3 to 5 marks questions will be asked from this. Very normally it will be 3 marks. Very rarely 5 marks question may be asked from this chapter. And the next, hello madam, Chaitra madam.
Sir.
Can I take another 5 to 10 minutes? minutes.
Okay, sir, you can continue, sir.
Okay, thank you. So next chapter is actually the Kosta Evam Ashaya Sharira. So under this heading, so definition of Kosta, that is Tana, Niyama, Agni Pakwana, Mutrasya, Rudirasya, Rudunduka Pupusasya, Kosta Ityabhidiyate. This is the actually the definition of the Kosta. Normally, whenever the definition of Kosta is asked, student will write answers like Anta Kosto Mahasrota Ama Pakvashayashraya. This is not the definition of Kosta. This is actually the synonym of the Kosta, where Anta Kosta, Mahasrota, Ama Pakvashayashraya. These are the synonyms of the Kosta. The definition of the Kosta is Sthanani Ama Agni Pakwana Mutrasya Rudirasya Rudunduka Pupusascha Kosta Ityabhidiyate. Sushruta Chikissa Sthana, second chapter, 12th and 13th shloka. So definition of the Kosta is mentioned. And the Kostangas. In this same reference only, you get the Kostangas mentioned by Sushruta Samhita. And even in Charaka Sharira, 7th chapter, you will get the reference of Panchadasha Kostanga, 15 Kostangas. So normally the questions asked from this chapter will be define Kosta and explain Kostangas explained by Charaka, or explain Kostanga explained by Charaka as well as Sushruta. That normally they will ask. Then next one is the Ashaya. So define Ashaya and explanation of Ashaya, like Vatashaya, Pittashaya, Kafashaya, Mutrashaya, then Amashaya, Pakvashaya. So those things we are going to discuss in this chapter. I think you have already studied about all these Ashayas. And if you go through the questions related to this chapter, you can see define Kosta and name the Kostangas or number Kostangas. Define Kosta, name the Kostangas as mentioned by Charaka and Sushruta. Name the Ashaya and explain them, and explain Ashaya in detail, or write the location, appearance, anatomical relation of Rudaya with the supporting sloka, and the influence of Tamas on Rudaya. So Rudaya, as you know, it is one of the Kostanga, and you have studied about the Rudaya in the context of Marma also. You are going to study the Rudaya in the context of Ashaya also. Uh, like that. So those references you have to highlight, like location. It is mentioned in Stanayor Madhya Madhishtaya Urasya Amashaya Dwaram. It is located in between the two sthana in the Ura Pradesha close to the Amashaya Dwara. That is actually the location. Even anatomical relation is mentioned there only. That is Stanayor Madhya, in between the sthana above the Amashaya Dwara in the Ura Pradesha. That is the relation. Appearance, Pundarikena Sadrusha. It is look like a Adhomukha Pundarika, downward facing lotus. So that is actually the references of the Rudaya. This reference is available in Sushruta Sharira 4th chapter. So before discussing about the Prakriti, he has explained about the Rudaya. So that reference is available in Sushruta Sharira 4th chapter. And the other questions asked in this chapter are Ashaya, Kosta, Ashaya Sankhya. Name the Avayavas. Avayava means it is Kostanga only. You have to enumerate the Kostangas. Ashaya Prakara, measurement of Antra. It is not Andhra. It is measurement of Antra. It is 3 Vyama or 3.5 Vyama. It is mentioned in Sushruta Sharira 5th chapter. And explain about Garbhashaya. So it is one of the Ashaya. So if you look at this chapter, normally it will be 5 marks or the 3 marks question. Normally, Ashaya will be asked, or define Kostan, name the Kostangas. It will be asked for 5 marks. Or individual Ashayas or define Ashaya, define Kosta will be asked for 3 marks. So if you go through, it is either 3 to 5 marks questions will be asked from this part of the portion. The next chapter is actually Kala Sharira. You have studied about definition of the Kala. Similarly, you have studied about the Kala Swarupa. Similarly, you have studied about various types of the Kala, like Mamsadara Kala, Medodara Kala, Purishadara Kala. So like that you have studied. So whenever the Swarup of the Kala is asked, you have to write the references where it is mentioned that Yatahi Sarakasteshu Chidyamaneshu Drishyate, Tatahi Dhaturmamseshu Chidyamaneshu Drishyate. That references you have to highlight when the description is asked for Kala Swarupa. And if you go through the Kala chapter, you can see the questions will be normally asked to define Kala or explain Kala in detail, or define Kala and explain any one Kala. Such things are asked, or Purushadhara, Raktadhara Kala normally will be asked. Then you have to explain what is this Purushadhara Kala, then where it is located, and if at all any simile is mentioned related to these colors, like in the context of Raktadhara Kala, they have mentioned some simile, even in the context of Mamsadhara Kala, they have mentioned, just like Shiri Vriksha, if you cut the Shiri Vriksha, the Rakta will ooze out. So such similes are mentioned along with the Kala. So such things you can explain along with the description of the Kala when the question is asked for 5 marks. Then other than that, define Kala, types of Kala, or Purishadhara, Pittadhara Kala may be asked for 2 marks. Then you have to write which type of Kala, whether Mamsadhara Kala, it is a first Kala situated deep to the twak, or it is covering the mamsa, or it does the dharana of the mamsa. Within this Mamsadhara Kala, we observe Sira, Srotas, Damani, etc. So that point you can write in 1 or 2 sentences. If you know this sloka, it is well and good. So from this chapter also, it will be normally 3 to 5 marks questions. And Uttamangya Sharira, under this chapter, it is Shat Chakra and Ida Pingala Sushumna Nadi. Normally, 2 possibilities are there. One, explain Shat Chakra in detail for 5 marks, and the second is explain Ida Pingala Sushumna Nadi for 5 marks. Other than this, normally 3 marks questions like any one chakra, like Anahata Chakra, Vishuddha Chakra, or Ida, Pingala Nadi, Sushumna Nadi. So other than this, we can't expect any other questions from this chapter. And whenever you are studying about Shat Chakra, at least remember the location of each chakra, the Bija Aksharas and the Bija Mantra related to that chakra, Deva Devatas related to that chakra, and the color of the chakra. At least these 5 points, if you remember, it can at least score around 4 marks. If it is asked, individual chakra is asked for 5 marks also. Location, Bija Mantra and Bija Aksharas, and the Deva Devatas, and the color of that chakra, and if at all one correlation, one plexus related to that chakra. So they have mentioned some of the plexus, like sacrococcygeal plexus is related to Mooladhara chakra. Like that, they have correlated some plexus to individual chakra. If you write at least these 5 to 6 points, you can score. No need of worrying about other things. And that Bijakshara, you may think that it has got 16 Bijaksharas, 12 Bijaksharas and all. Don't worry about it much, because so it is actually in order, alphabetical order from A to Ha. So from Vishuddha, if you go back, so Vishuddha, so what is the, it will start from A, E, like that. If you just look at the Bijaksharas, they are mentioned in order from Vishuddha in reverse. Vishuddha, Manipura, that Vishuddha, Anahata, Manipura, Swadhisthana, Moolahata. If you go, it is actually mentioned in order. Just to see that Bijaksharas, they are clearly mentioned in order, and you can easily remember in that fashion the Bijaksharas. And as I told, explain Shat Chakra is a common question normally asked for 5 marks. And this Ida, Pingala or Pingala, Mooladhara Chakra, like that, they will ask for 3 marks. I think you have already studied about these things. Ida is the one which is present, Nadi present in the left side of the Merudanda, Pingala in the right side, and in the middle of the Merudanda, it is actually the Sushumna Nadi is present. Within the Sushumna Nadi only you are observing the Brahma Nadi, where the that Kundalini Shakti is flowing up and down. And by concentrating on various chakras present in this Sushumna Nadi, you are actually attaining that Samadhi stage. That Shat chakras are situated in different levels of the Sushumna Nadi, that is within the Brahma Nadi. And regarding the Marma Sharira, I think already Madam has explained in Thursdays this one. So I am not discussing much on Marma Sharira. And this is also one of the important chapter where normally questions will be asked about 10 to 15 marks. At least 10 to 13 marks questions will be asked. Long essay questions will be either from Garbha Vakranti Sharira or Marma Sharira. So majority of the time, long essay will be from either Garbhavakranti Sharira or Marma Sharira. And you can go through the questions. So the long essay questions are more like define marma, classify it, and explain sadhya prana or shakagata marma, like that they will ask. Or define marma, classify it and explain rujakara marma. So like that, definition and classification point will be normally there in long question. Along with that, they may ask anyone, explain Vishalyagna, explain Shakagata, explain Rujakara, explain Vaikalyakara Marma. Like that, they will ask as sub questions. Here, definition of Marma may have 3 marks, classification may have around 5 marks, and the remaining 5 marks will be regarding Shakagata Marma if it is for 10 marks. 3 marks for definition, or 2 marks for definition, 3 marks for classification, and 5 marks for explanation of Shakagata Marma. This is how we divide the marks whenever we are evaluating. Similarly, 5 marks like Urdhvaga Marma, Adoshakagata Marma, Trimarma, Vishalyagda Marma, Kukundara Marma. So individual marmas normally it will be asked for 3 marks, like Vitama Marma, Brati Marma, Nabi Marma, Stapani Marma. So normally they will ask for 3 marks. If the 3 marma is asked for 5 marks as well as 3 marks, in 3 marma, just if you write the names of 3 marma, you will get 3 marks. If it is asked for 5 marks, we expect some description regarding the 3 marma. And don't write the references of Shushu Samhita in 3 marma, because the concept of 3 marma is mentioned by Acharya Charaka. Go through Charaka Siddhisthana 9th chapter, where it is clearly mentioned the description of 3 marma. Write the references of Charaka Siddhisthana 9th chapter only while writing about 3 marma. Don't write the references of Sushu Samhita, because Sushuta has not clearly mentioned 3 marma. And the next point, that is the last point in this Ayurvedic Sharira Rachana, is the Indriya Sharira, where you are going to see the definition of the Indriya, that is Indra Atma Tasya Sadhanam Indriyam. So Indra Atma, Indra here refers to Atma, Tasya Sadhanam. So it is the tool of Atma to gain the knowledge. Indriya means it is the tool of Atma to gain the knowledge. That is the definition of Indriya. So under the Indriya, they may ask what, name the Jnanendriyas, name the Karmendriyas, name the Ubhayendriya, like that they will ask answer questions for 3 marks. Other than that, normally the questions which are asked from this chapter will be saptatvacha, 7 layers of the tvak, or it may be the netra swarupa, or the netra, description of netra. All those things normally important. Here it is 3 to 5 marks questions will be asked from Indriya Sharira. If you go through the questions, you can see define Indriya, name the Jnanendriya and Karmendriya, or explain Tvak or Tvak Sharira, Saptatvacha, describe Netra, Karmendriya. Majority of the questions will be either related to Tvak or Netra. So because the description regarding other Indriyas are very less. And don't think we will not get the references regarding these Indriyas. If you go through the description of Asti, Sandhi, Peshi, Snayu, Sira, Damani, etc., in each context they have mentioned some Asti related to Netra, Sandhi related to Netra, Peshi related to Netra, Sira related to Netra, Damani related to Netra, or Avedya Sira related to Netra. So if you collect all those references, you will get lot of references to write answer for Netra. So like that, you have to collect the references which are mentioned in different context. Don't think that you will not get in one place. It is actually mentioned in different contexts. You have to collect the references mentioned related to Karna. Collect the references of number of Asti, Peshi, Snayu, Sira, Damani, etc. related to Karna from different contexts, and you can write it in together. Similarly, they have mentioned Avabhasini. They may ask individual layer of the Tvak for 3 marks, or Jnanendriya, Karmendriya, Netra Sandhi, Ubhayendriya. Like that, they will ask questions related to Indriyas for 3 marks. So with this, I'm concluding my talk on the exam-oriented points of Ayurvedic Sharira Rachana. So if you have any questions, or if you want any clarification regarding these things, you can ask me.
Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful session. So our students have some questions. Can we
Yes,
take
ma'am.
up, sir?
Yeah, sure, madam.
Sir, first question, whether they cut marks for spelling mistake in shlokas.
Normally, if major points are covered in that sloka, we will not cut any marks. If you are writing one line of one sloka and if you are writing another line of another sloka and without any meaning, then we may reduce mark. But it all depends on how you write answers for other questions also. So by considering your one answer, we will not reduce the marks. If you have written answers very poorly in the initial 7, 8 questions, and you have written very properly in one question, it is very difficult for the evaluator to judge the student at by one answer, because many questions are written very poorly, but only one question which is actually very tough. Such questions will be written very well by a student. Then we think that some manipulation has occurred while writing the answer. So then you may lose the marks. Such things can occur, but normally teachers will not cut marks just by one spelling mistake and all. Hello?
Okay, sir. Next question, whether they give marks to only explanations without shlokas.
So normally we give marks, but it depends. So because if two students are there, one student write sloka along with the meaning, then we have to give little more marks to that student. So for example, classification of Sandhi, if they return sloka along with the descriptions, then we will give at least 4.5 marks to that student. And if the student return only the meaning, then we may give around 3.5 marks. At least we should differentiate the one who has written well and one who has written medium. For that purpose, normally we give marks in little difference.
Okay, sir. So next question, whether they give marks, is writing reference along with the shloka necessary or not?
So we don't expect you should write the references. If you are very sure that it is either from Sushruta Samhita or Charaka Samhita, write it down. Otherwise, don't write the references like after writing the sloka of Sushruta, don't write Charaka Samhita. Instead of that, if you are very sure that this reference is from Sushruta Samhita, write Sushruta Samhita. No need of explaining which chapter, which sloka number. If you know all those things, it is well and good. Even if you don't know, at least if you know it is from Sushru Samhita, write Sushru Samhita. But if you are not sure whether it is from Sushru Samhita or Charaka Samhita, don't write anything in the end.
So thank you so much, sir, for sharing your expertise with our students and also for your suggestions regarding the preparation of examination. So on behalf of Department of Sharira Rachana, we are very grateful to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
At the end, I thank all of you for your active participation in guest lecture on exam orientation program Rachanavadhana 2020. So tomorrow on 28 December 2020, we have Dr. Santosh Dikshit sir, Professor, Department of Sharira Rachana, Sri Sri College of Ayurveda Science and Research, Bengaluru. Sir will be talking on the topic osteology. Thank you one and all.